Good morning, everyone. We're going to start in a lion position. And we're going to start that dialogue between body and breath, body and mind, breathing down into the belly. Feeling the abdominal muscles expand on the inhale and drop back down towards the spine on the exhale. It might be legs extended or knees bent, feet flat on the floor so the lower back comes in contact with the floor. And this week we've had a little theme in class around the attention. Attention spans are quite a hot topic at the moment. They're saying that kids and adults, their attention spans are shortest they've ever been. I definitely know that there's more distractions in the world, which might attribute to that. But if you look at ancient yogi texts, even pre-Vedic texts, the attention has always been a hot topic. We've got written accounts of a Aborigine tribe in Australia, the Dadari tribe. They were around 40,000 years ago, and they had a form of meditation. And they would sit and listen to the sounds of the river. And he said that this would focus their mind. He would draw their attention to all the wonderful things that they have. The Vedic yogis 5,000 years ago, their main form of yoga was strictly meditation. They would sit, focus the mind on a single thought, whether it be a mantra or the breath. And he said that this would unlock the keys to give you the keys to unlock nirvana or samadhi. And then in more modern times, even 100 years ago, this week we've had a quote from Simone Weil, French philosopher. And she was of the Christian faith. She had this big Christian realization when she was in Assisi. And her big thing was around prayer and using the vibrations of collective prayer to focus the mind. And she said of the attention, attention is the purest and rarest form of generosity that we have. And I suppose it is generous of us to give our attention fully to something, whether it's someone or a task or even ourselves. And that was a quote from 1930, so roughly about 100 years ago. And then more recently, we've obviously got Eckhart Tolle, we've got Thich Nhat Hanh. And that's what we're going to do today, is find our attention. It'd be our drishti, certain spots, maybe tip of the nose, tip of the fingertip, the spot on the horizon. But we're going to find them in poses and find a little slow in towards the end of class. But we're going to start our physical practice by bringing knees into chest, hands around the front of the knees. There might be a little push of the tailbone toward the floor. A little rock from side to side if it feels good for your lower back. Beautiful, guys. We're going to let go of the knees. We're going to extend the legs so the feet face the ceiling. We created like this L shape with the body. And we're going to hold the feet there. Toes pull back towards us, so we're pushing through the heels. Nice. And then can we take hands to the backs of hamstrings? We'll lift head and shoulders. The hands might even go a little higher up the legs, whether it's calves or if you've got really long hamstrings, even toes, as we ease the legs back towards us. Nice. We'll release head and shoulders back to the floor. You might bend into the knees. We might keep legs extended as we bring heels toward the floor. Slowly lowering. And as we're a couple of inches off the floor, we're going to hold for 3, 2, 1, and knees back into chest. Once again, we'll take each knee in each hand towards each armpit, kind of like a half happy baby. And then we'll extend legs once again. Push through the heels. Slowly lower. Again, you can bend knees as we bring the feet toward the floor. And this time we'll lift head and shoulders. We'll take fingertips towards the bottom of the mat. We'll hover the heels for 3, 2, 1. Knees into chest, head and shoulders to the floor. Nice. And you might take the knees apart once again. And we'll send feet high. And it might be legs extended, knees bent, but we'll slowly lower. We'll lift head and shoulders as heels hover off the floor for 3, 2, 1. And we'll come up to seated, crossing legs. And taking a forward fold, letting the spine round, head hang heavy, let the hands slide towards the top of your mat. And with the space in the body being behind you and towards the back of the body, can you take the breath into the rear ribs?
And then we'll walk the hands out over towards the left. Take the chest over left knee or toward the left knee. And swooping through center, we'll go out over to the right. Inhale up through center. We'll come rolling up. We'll take left hand next to left hip on the floor. We'll take right arm over, finding the lateral movement. Lifting right armpit, lengthening from hip to armpit. Inhale up through center. We'll place right hand down, left arm up over. And inhale up to center with both hands. Exhale, cactus arms. We'll pull elbows wide. With an exhale, we'll bring forearms together. We'll round the spine. Inhale, we'll open. Cactus arms once again. We'll take the gaze towards the ceiling. Exhale, close everything off. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Inhale, open. And then we'll find a twist to the left. Right hand to left leg, left hand behind left hip. We inhale, lift through the crown of the head, create that space. And exhale, and find our twist. Inhale through center. Exhale out over to the right. And back into center. Well, we'll roll over legs or swing the legs out underneath us and make our way to downward facing dog. Or you can have a pedal of the feet, a drop of the hips to either side. Find a little free movement for 30 seconds. Outfit adjustment. And then we'll find stillness. We'll sink into heels. We'll push the tailbone towards the sky. Push the floor away from us. Before looking up between the thumbs. Step, hop, float the feet forward. Forward fold at the top of your mat. Everything's angle. Hang heavy. There's a slight bend in the knees. Inhale, halfway lift. We're nice and active. We're pushing through the crown, pushing through tailbone, the body parallel to the floor. And we'll keep that length for the spine as we find a forward fold. And inhale, hinge up from the hips. We'll take arms wide, up overhead. And exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, scoop in. Hands forward and up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Forward fold. And then we'll take arms out in front of us. We'll send hips back. We'll find chair pose. Sit in the heels. Maybe find a spot on the horizon. Bring your focus to. Inhale, straighten legs. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift. Forward fold, and we'll step, hop, float back for plank. Shoulders over wrists. We're pushing the floor away from us. You might feel like the spine is pushing up between shoulder blades. There's a slight tuck of the tailbone. We sink into heels. Of course, knees grounded for the modification. And then we'll take shoulders over fingertips. Keeping elbows tucked into the side of the body. We'll slowly lower ourselves all the way to the floor. Sliding forearms forward once we land. Sphinx pose. Rolling down the chest. We'll push through tabletop or a push-up if you want something spicier. And find downward facing dog. And shoulder width apart, feet hip width apart. Knees are going to be bent. We press tailbone towards the sky. That long line down the spine to crown of the head. Looking up between thumbs. We'll step, hop, float the feet forward once again. Forward fold. Halfway lift. Forward fold. And inhale, chair pose. Sending hips back, softening into knees. We'll take hands out in front. Sink into heels. Inhale, straighten legs. We'll take hands high. We'll find a back bend. Exhale, hands to heart center. We'll take a moment. Soften knees. Don't need to stand to attention. Find a long breath out, maybe even a sigh on the exhalation. Nice. And releasing hands down behind the back. We're going to interlace fingers. Or if you've got a belt, you might take the belt sort of hip width distance apart. And we'll straighten arms, opening the front of the body. Might be a little lift the chest. And if it's available, we'll find a forward fold. Letting the hands drop away from the back of the body. No need to force it, just let gravity do all of the work. And releasing hands. We're going to scoop the arms all the way through. We're going to find a third chair pose. And if it's in your practice, maybe you rock up onto tiptoes. We find balance element to our chair. Beautiful. Heels to the floor with straightened legs. Forward fold. Halfway lift. Forward fold. And we'll step, hop, float back for plank. We're going to hold our plank once again, just for 5 breaths. Just 4. Knees lifted, knees grounded. Nice. And then we'll take shoulders over fingertips and slowly lower. Elbows stay tucked. We'll keep hands where they are. As we inhale, lift for cobra. We're very light in the hands. We're using the back body muscles. Rolling down the chest. We'll push through tabletop. We'll tuck toes, lift hips, downward facing dog. Right foot lifts up behind, 3-legged dog. And we straighten through that leg, push through the heel, toes pull back toward shin. Don't worry about what the hips are doing. We're just going to lift that leg as high as possible. And then taking right foot to the top of the mat, we'll place it between the hands. Left foot steps in, heel down, toes out. As we hinge up and we find warrior 1. Hips, chest square to the top of your mat. Front knee over ankle. Got those opposing energies. Grounding from the hips down. Uplifting from the hips up. And we'll play into shoulders a little more here. We'll bring hands down behind the back. We'll take opposite hand to opposite forearm. Pull shoulder blades towards each other. Beautiful. And with the next inhale, we're going to straighten right leg. Keeping hips square to the top of the mat. Our left hip's going to want to slide out as we keep hands maybe where they are. Maybe they come to the shin. And we keep reaching with the crown of the head. The length of the spine, tilt of the pelvis is going to do all of the work. We lengthen hamstrings. It might be that you don't need to hinge to parallel to the floor. But find the edge of your body. Nice. Inhale, we'll hinge back up. We'll release hands onto hips. Shoulders might have a little roll. Forwards, backwards. And then we'll come up onto toes on that back foot. And slowly lower. Bring in left knee to the floor. Nice. We'll take hands to heart center. And then we'll take the tip of left elbow to right knee. We don't need to be dropping armpit down onto the top of that thigh. We'll keep the elbow on the knee. We'll find length through the spine before we turn the chest towards the right. Stacking palms, elbows, working towards stacking shoulders. Maybe the attention goes to the tip of the nose. Beautiful. We'll release our twist. We'll frame the front foot. We'll kick right foot from the back, from the front of the mat to the back of the mat, extending that leg back behind us. Again, can we focus on straightening that leg, pushing through the heel? As we hold it there for 3, 2, 1. We'll keep the gaze between the hands as we bend into right knee and then start to push the sole of the foot towards the ceiling. And an extension of the hip. Glutes are firing up. Beautiful. And then we'll take right knee wide for lamppost pose. Really working those hip muscles, those deeper ones that hold the hip, the femur in the hip. Nice. We'll extend right leg back behind us once again. We'll push through the heel. Beautiful. We'll bend into right knee, sole of the foot towards the sky. It might be that you bring then heel to glute and really squeeze in. We've got a balance challenge. We'll slide right hand a little more central. We'll take left hand back behind us, maybe catching the top of right foot as you kick foot into hand, hand into foot, lifting with the chest. There's an element of back bend going on. There's lots of hip extension. Beautiful. And then we'll release right foot. We'll step it to the outside of the hands at the top of the mat. And let the hips sink forward, head hang heavy. The heart rate and the breath is lifted. Can we find control of it once again, breathing in through the nose, out through the nose. If you have blocks in front of you, maybe forearms drop onto blocks or onto the floor. And if we're on forearms, we'll come back up onto palms. We'll push the hips back. We'll step back for plank, whether it's knees up or knees down. And we'll slowly lower. Hands stay underneath shoulders as we inhale, lift the chest. Shoulder blades pull towards each other. Exhale, rolling down. We'll push for a tabletop or a push-up. And meet at downward facing dog. Left foot lifts up behind, three-legged dog. Again, we're pushing through the heel. We're straightening that leg. much as we can. Building strength. And then taking left foot to the top of the mat, we'll place it between the hands. We're stepping right foot in, heel down, toes out. Hinging up for our warrior one. Grounding down through that back heel. Through the front foot. Lifting with the crown of the head. And again, we'll take the hands down behind the back. Maybe it's opposite hand to opposite forearm. If reverse prayer is available. Hands together, we're pulling shoulder blades towards each other. Finding our attention, Darishti to the tip of the nose. And maybe we keep the hands as they are as we straighten front leg. We start to reach with the crown of the head and hinge from the hips. Parsvatasana, pyramid pose. Option to find blocks around the front foot if that's how you find that length through the spine, tilt of the pelvis. Inhale, hinging back up. We're coming up onto toes on the back foot. We're slowly lowering back knee. As it lands, we'll bring hands to heart center. We'll lift through the crown of the head and right elbow to left knee. We stack palms, stack elbows. We're still finding length through the spine. We don't want to close the body off. This will sort of close our twist off. We're looking for rotation of the chest. Nice, guys. And we'll release our twist. We'll frame the front foot. We'll send left foot to the back of the mat. We'll straighten that leg. We'll bring it parallel to the floor. And we'll hold there. Can we bend into left knee, sole of the foot, towards the sky as we start to push and press it towards the ceiling? And then we'll take left knee wide to kind of hip height, lamppost pose. And kick that leg back behind you once again. Push through the heel. We'll bend into left knee. It might be that you bring left heel to left glute and you're squeezing it. Or it might be that you walk the left hand a little more central. We'll take right hand back behind us, catch in. the top of the foot, kicking foot into hand, hand into foot. Even a little lift of the chest, lift of the gaze towards the horizon. As we find tiger pose, kind of like a precursor to dancer's pose. We've taken that huge balance element out of it by coming down to the knees. We're a little closer to the floor. Still lots of things going on. It's very complex. Then we'll release left foot and step it to the outside of the hands at the top of the mat. We'll find our lizard lunge. If you have to step the back knee back or the front foot forward, please do. Find your blocks if you want to drop down onto forearms or forearms to the floor. And it might be that the eyes close. Coming back up onto palms. If we're on forearms, we're going to step back for plank. And then keeping hands grounded at the top of the mat, we're going to walk feet to the hands, trying to keep the hands as flat as possible on the floor as we find a forward fold somewhere near the top of our mat. It doesn't need to be dead at the top, but let everything dangle. Let us spine sort of drop forward. And then we're going to play around with standing splits for just a moment. So bringing feet underneath hips. We're going to place our weight into our left foot and send right heel towards the ceiling. The hands might walk back towards that left foot. The face drops towards left leg. And we're lifting right heel as high as possible. Instantly, the body might start to shake. A lot of strength work going on. And then we'll bring right foot next to left once again. Bend the knees quite generously so the chest rests on top of thighs. Become really passive in our forward fold for a moment. And then placing your weight into your right foot. We'll take left leg back behind us. We'll lift left heel as high as possible. The face drops towards standing leg. Hands might step towards right foot. We're pushing through that heel. We're lifting really high. This one definitely causes me to shake a bit. There's lots of work going on. And we'll gently release left foot towards right. We'll land, we'll find a heavy bend in the knees. And then we'll take a large step back with the right foot. We'll land right knee. As we pop up into a lunge, low lunge, we'll find our blocks if we have them around that front foot. If you don't have them, you're going to bring hands onto left knee. You're going to lift through the crown of the head, tuck the tailbone. This is going to be where your low lunge is. You've got blocks. You're here, hands around the foot, lifting at the chest, slight tuck of the tailbone. And then with an inhale, can we push hips over that back knee? Can we straighten front leg? The blocks might come with you as we find half splits. It might be that you're here. It might be that your fingertips on the floor. This time we're pushing tailbone towards the back of the room, utilizing that tilt of the hips. And exhale, we'll push forward once again. If the blocks need to step forward, step the blocks forward. Maybe eyes closed, maybe the gaze is towards the tip of the nose once again. And with the next inhale, we'll push the hips back. We'll straighten front leg. If full splits is in your practice, you're more than welcome to go to full splits. You're in full splits, you're coming back out. We're in half splits, we're pushing forward. We'll turn our blocks down onto the lowest dimension, kind of around about hip height. We're going to walk left foot across to right wrist. We're going to let left knee drop toward left wrist. It might be that you find your block underneath left hip, so you're not so tilty or uneven feeling. Right leg extends back behind us. We'll keep up on our fingertips. I apologize for just a moment. And the block there underneath that left hip, so we don't sort of cramp our work. We don't sort of remove that space that we're going to allow the body to move into. It might feel good in your body to stay up on fingertips, stay lifted. But if you want to walk the hands forward a little more, maybe even drop down onto forearms. If you're super open in the hips, maybe forehead to forearms. If we're down on forearms or forehead to forearms, we're coming back up onto palms. We're walking the hands back towards us, tucking toes on the right foot. We'll lift hips, step back for plank. Just the briefest of planks before we step right foot forward, left knee grounds. We find our blocks or hands on top of the knee. And our low lunge, right leg forward. As we gently push the hips back, we're straighten front leg, we'll find half splits. And we'll find our low lunge once again. And half splits or full splits if it's in your practice. We'll slowly come out of full splits. If we're in full splits, we'll push forward out of our half splits. We'll collapse our blocks down onto the lower dimension. We'll walk right ankle across to left wrist. Right knee drops towards right wrist. Our block underneath right hip. We'll stay lifted. Left leg extends back behind us. We'll have a little check. Make sure it's not splaying out towards or past the edge of your mat. Lifting through the crown of the head. We're hinging from the hips. And you know the variations from the first side. Move towards whichever variation suits your practice, suits your body. Left side might have been different from right side. But listen to your body. And find the best place for your attention. Beautiful, guys. We'll come back up onto palms. We'll tuck toes. We'll lift hips. We'll slide right leg out from underneath us. We'll bring knees to the floor and then swing the legs out in front. There might be a brief forward fold. A little wriggle and a fidget of the back body. Before we find any extra layers you may want or you may need, and make your way to Shavasana, our final resting pose. Full body stretches, wriggles and fidgets before we find that position, comfiest position for our body. Once you have settled in, we'll spend the next few minutes finding deep rest. Entirely for yourself. And I'll guide you out with a little chime of my cymbals in a few minutes' time. the sound of the cymbals reawaken the senses. Become aware of the light through the eyelids, the breath once again, the warm air around you. And even though Simone Weil was outwardly a Catholic, she did read the Bhagavad Gita. And this is possibly where her fascination with the attention might have grew. Chapter 6 of the Bhagavad Gita is entirely dedicated to the practice of meditation. Cantos 11, 12, 13, 14 will all describe how to meditate. But personally, Canto 5, reshape yourself through the power of your will. Never let yourself be degraded by self-will. The will is the only friend of the self, and the will is the only enemy of the self. This relates to our Simone Weil saying that attention is the purest and rarest form of generosity. Let your attention be your friend. You control it. We rein it in through meditation. And we let it reshape ourselves for the better. You can find some full body stretches, hugs of the knees, any sort of subtle movement that feels good to you. Or we gently roll out to either side, making our way up to a seated position, either legs crossed or legs extended. And once we arrive there, we'll bring hands to heart center. We'll bow the third eye towards the heart space. And we'll close down class with a collective Om Shanti 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 on the exhale. Translates to Om, peace, peace, peace. Giving thanks for this practice and send some positive energy out into the world. So taking a deep, rich, full inhale. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And thank you, people. Thank you for joining me this morning. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found something from it and it set you up for a wonderful rest of your weekend. Enjoy yourselves. And I'll see you all again soon. No classes on Wednesday, but there's class next Saturday if you want to join me. Online once again. But thank you.
Thank you.